Hi there everyone, happy eclipse. I'm jumping in here to speak a little bit into the energies that have been happening this September, and I'm wondering if you're feeling it because wowzers, woo, it is strong. I am remembering very clearly the very similar frequency last year, and of course at first I was like, wow, there's a real repetition happening here, what is going on? And then I'm like, of course, we're in eclipse season. The first of them is today, of course, September the 7th, and then we have also the powerful equinox on its way to us, and then we have another eclipse towards the end of the month. So what you may notice is a repetition of, yes, perhaps what you were working through last year. If you can take your awareness back to September last year, what was it that you were moving through? And more importantly, how were you relating to it? How were you dealing with it? And this eclipse really has the energy of completion of cycles, right? So it is going to be digging around, and for some people more than others. Some people are going to be definitely feeling it more than others. But if you're getting it, it feels like, it really does feel kind of like being struck by lightning. The energy is so powerful and so strong and so jolting and jarring that it kind of is digging under the rug and really, really presenting us with any little discrepancies, of anything that we might still be playing out that really isn't in alignment with who we are and where we're at now. And this process is not a linear process, right? It's a spiral wave. And so as we touch those layers and we recognize them and we alchemize them and we repattern them, it can be that there are deeper levels of those layers that are still, way, way, way down. Now, that doesn't mean to say that we need to go in and, dig at them and do the heavy shadow work, but we definitely 110% need to, yes, allow them to come up, to be seen, to be felt, to be honored, to be blessed, to be healed, so that they can be freed and liberated. If we don't give ourselves that process, if we're not generous with ourselves in that process by allowing it to happen, as uncomfortable as it may be, then they will continue to hang around and to play out in our lives in ways that we probably aren't on many levels even aware that they're affecting our lives. So we have to tend to them. We can't bypass them, but we don't have to tend to them with elongated looping stories. We can see the story and we honor the story, and we also give an opportunity for that part of ourselves, or for that ancestor, or for whatever it is, to say yes to collapsing the story back into unity, back into divinity, so that it's no longer playing out in our energetic fields and therefore playing out in our lives. So also with these energies, there's a real call to simplicity. When there is so much being received, bombarded, as the energy intensifies and illuminates, life can get very full very fast as well, with all of your commitments in your work, in your relationships, in your offerings. And while it can kind of feel fun for a while to have that huge pulse of creative energy or the ability to take on more, if we're not careful, it can very quickly catch up with us and turn into overwhelm. So simplifying, and that includes your wardrobe. You're talking to the person who loves a little bit of fashion, way too many things in there, and traveling around the world carrying way too many things. So even on the physical level, it's like, how can we make things easier for ourselves? What are we doing? Maybe we can identify and see where we're consistently doing things to take ourselves out and to make things harder on ourselves, right? Including our health. If you're feeling depleted, then you have a choice. There's a choice point somewhere that you can do something different to change that. The time now, because the energy is so much about the completion cycles, there's also a clarity in decision making that's coming through. So it's like we can't be wishy-washy. We can't decide one thing and then change onto it. I mean, you can, but you're going to get thrown around like a pinball in a pinball machine, if you remember what they are, if we're not clear. So it's asking for clear decisions, for clarity. And the closing of something doesn't necessarily mean that it has to finish either. It's just a way of how things have been, maybe taking a new form. So it could be that you're leaving something completely, but it also could mean that cycle of how you've been doing something in a way is finished, and now we're moving into something really new. And for a lot of people, that clarity will be coming very fast, and for others it might feel like total confusion, you know, as all of the opportunities kind of start landing. This is where the next theme that I wanted to speak into is massive. Sorry, while I change my grip on the phone, is trust. You know, how much can we let go of our control, of our needing to control how everything plays out, how everything is, you know, pretzeling our lives to fit our idea of what we think is meant to be, rather than not even beyond trusting, knowing that if whatever that thing is that's meant to be for us, that we don't have to push and pretzel and try, that the work actually is to do the opposite, to stand back, to hand it over to the manager. I like to say I hand it over to my guardians and to my higher self, or hand it over to God, hand it over to Source, and ask to be shown clearly without any shadow of doubt. Lean on your guardians and your allies to take care of business for you a little bit more. That's what they want to be there for. And, you know, often we are in service to them. It's always a reciprocal relationship. So they really like it when we call upon them to give us really clear directive as well. And self-acceptance, that was another massive one that was coming through when I was tuning in, the acceptance of where we're at in our humanness. So even if you think or feel like you got it down, you know, you're a bit of a spiritual warrior and you're like, yeah, man, I got this. Like, don't be surprised if you don't got it. And it's okay. If you ain't got it, it's fine. We're human and we are learning. We're not even learning, we're remembering. But our humanness is our innocence. And it's so precious and it's so beautiful. So we have to really do our best to not be so hard on ourselves. I say myself because my husband always says, you're way too hard on yourself, my love. Right? So I'm going to take Laz's advice and I'm going to offer it to you too. Stop being so hard on yourself. Just be okay with whatever is arising. As he always says to me, you're as beautiful in your shadow as you are in your light. So if you're crusty, cranky, you know, and you're a bit off and you're finding it a little bit challenging to come back to your center, it's okay. Permission slip time, you got it. It's all good. It's a cycle. And we are in the belly of the boa, in the belly of the Amaru, and we are being contracted, constricted, and squeezed into the next expansion wave of our awakening, which is exactly what these eclipse energies and this eclipse sandwich that we're coming into are meant to do, what the equinox energies are here to do, to invite us into alignment, which means that which is not in alignment will either change or it will go. But the harmonizing energies of the eclipse are bringing us back into our center. All right, so big love to everybody out there. Know, like I always remind everyone, including myself, that you are not alone. So whatever is happening for you, you can guarantee that there are many of us that are holding your hand, walking side by side and going through it too. Okay, with all my love, as the whatever it is out there starts confirmation. I'll see you soon. Tupunanchi's Karma.